Nina, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Lynch?
Here.
Member Collins? Member Lewis? Here. Member Young Johnson? Member Williams?
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes.
Well, we actually have 3 sets of minutes that we're approving. Is that correct, Mayor?
There is.
Can we approve those all at the same time, Dan? Sure. Okay.
I make a motion to approve minutes from September 13th, 2022, September 27th, 2022, and October 11th, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I see no unfinished business, so we will move to new business. Special event request from Central Church of God, Pastor Sluter.
Good morning, good to see you all again. This is our 4th year doing Buy a Tree, Change a Life, and I was joking with the fire department, we're not putting the tent up. We decided that is not a good idea in northern Indiana in November, so it's basically just our site like we've been doing the last couple of years, selling some trees and having fun and giving back to the community. And this year we're excited to, one of our new partnerships that we're going to give to is Josiah White's Foster Care, so we're really excited about that. So if anybody wants to come buy a tree or make donations, we'll take them.
Awesome. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the Buy a Tree, Change a Life.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Good luck, Pastor
Have a great day.
Sluter.
Thank you.
It's a great cause. We have the Carnival exhibition permit for the Nativity of Our Savior. Frank?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Frank Farkas. I'm here on behalf of Nativity of Our Savior Parish. We are requesting bringing back, after a 3-year hiatus that was out of our control, our 55th parish festival here for the Portage community. It may seem that we're a little early because the dates are July 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of July in 2023. But because of the hiatus, there's a lot of licensing that we need to do with the state through the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, the Indiana Charity Gaming Commission, and the Department of Homeland Security with the state of Indiana that needs to be initiated here. So that's why we're here early. Because of the dates, we're usually in the second week of July. This year we would be in the first. We're going to be piggybacking right off of the 4th of July holiday, which is going to be a challenge with inspectors from the state of Indiana. So we're trying to get on their agenda as quickly as possible, so that's why we're here today. I've spoken with the chief, the fire chief today. He assured me that Chris Kender would be our contact with the Portage Fire Department, who works hand in hand with the fire marshal out of Indianapolis and all the inspectors down there. And then I've also spoken with Detective Dennis Meyer from the Portage PD. We hire him as our head of security, and he employs a group of uniformed Portage officers that work as our security team for that event also. With that, if you have any other questions.
Frank, I noticed on the application, the dates are all for 2022.
That is a mistake. It's 2023. Sorry about that.
I make a motion to approve Nativity of Our Savior Catholic Church Festival for the dates indicated on the application.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck, Frank. If you need our help, let us know.
There will be tacos.
We have K-9 Falco retirement, Chief Candiano.
Hello. So, kind of some bittersweet news here, but about 6 weeks or so ago, Canine Falco sustained an injury to his knee. He ended up having surgery on the knee and appears to be making a pretty decent recovery, but based on all the information that we've gotten from other canine groups, from the doctor, just putting it all together, we think it's probably best to retire Falco at this point. So Falco's been with us about 7+ years. He's been working with us. He's been working with Sergeant Rick Krieg through that time. Like I said, he did have the surgery, but just based on the possibility of a re-injury or what I've learned is a lot of times with this, when this happens, they have a far likelihood of injuring the other knee based on their activity level and things. So for the sake of the dog, for the sake of the handler, and I think probably last but not least, for the good of the department, as far as the investment, we think it's time to retire Falco. So what I'm coming to you all today is, for the request is we'd like to transfer ownership of Falco to his handler, Sergeant Rick Krieg, at this point, and he can go and live out his life with the Krieg family and enjoy his days of retirement, but obviously needed to bring this before all of you, as he is technically city property as of today. So we would like to do this effective, his last day being October 31st, and then he'd be officially a retired police canine on November 1st, if that works for all of you.
I'll make a motion, we allow Falco to retire effective October 31st.
And would you make as part of that motion the transfer of Falco to its handler?
And the transfer of Falco to its handler.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. I have a question, Chief. So then will you be replacing Falco, or that's kind of up in the air?
Yeah, at some point we'd like to. As I think most of you are aware, our canine program is pretty much self-funding. They do all their stuff through fundraisers, donations, and which is actually how they paid for this surgery for Falco, was through that also. So once we get past this, yeah, we'll probably sit down, see where we're at funds. We may need to start doing some fundraising again, but we obviously would like to get the program back up to where it was. So that'll be, yeah, on the agenda moving forward. So.
If there are no further questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck, Falco.
Thank you.
We have the MOU of the City of Portage and the Porter County Library System.
I think I'll go up here and kind of talk to the board face to face here. Who are we going to ask questions? I'll be able to evade all questions answered. Question. So what you have in front of you is a draft MOU sent over from the Porter County Library System. We've kind of gone back and forth with some of the technicalities in it over the last few months. This is kind of the last draft that they forwarded over. It's an MOU, as you can see, or a memorandum of understanding, as you can see, between the city and the Porter County Library System. And this is born of a couple of years, actually, meetings and discussions between the mayor, myself, members of the RDC, and representatives of the Porter County Library Board. And what this really gets to is the creation of an outdoor reading garden, as you know, on the vacant land owned by the city next to the library. And that's, to give you a good visuals, where the old police department used to be on Irving Street. So the thought and idea here is, you can kind of, I'm just going to rash generalize this thing, is that it's a partnering between the city and the library system, where the city is committing the land for the creation and location of the library outdoor reading garden. And the library system, once this reading garden goes into creation, the library system or the library board will oversee and maintain that property as an asset of the library. That way the city doesn't have to continue committing maintenance costs. The library is going to do that. So the library, some of the delay here has been the commitment from the county, kind of working through their ARPA discussions and allocations and appropriations. And in my discussion with the library director as recently as today, he indicated that as it stands, their ask to the county for library improvements, this library reading garden being one of them, was reduced to $700,000, and he estimates $500,000 of that will be committed to this. So the county library system's commitment through the county will be $500,000 plus the ongoing maintenance and oversight of the reading garden. The city's commitment is going to be obviously the land plus an estimated $800,000. And Mayor, you can correct me if I get these numbers wrong. Some of that coming from the RDC, and some of that coming from the city's ARPA funds. Combined all together will be $800,000. So the library is going to also contribute through the funds they currently have, notwithstanding the ARPA funds they're getting, another $40,000 for the improvements to the parking areas there. Since there's already an issue with parking at the library, this is going to improve that and give additional parking for the folks that are coming to the outdoor reading garden. We're going to oversee the construction and of the project, and if all goes well, we'll have a wonderful reading garden for our outdoor reading garden for our citizens to be able to use. And Mayor, you can speak to some of the ideas that are going to go into this reading garden if you'd like. But that's kind of the view of the whole thing. So we put in there that an opportunity for either party to terminate this agreement should funding fall through in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I've spoken with, again, the library system and their attorney, and everybody wants to see this happen. Really, it's just a question of getting the funding, from both sides to come through, which it looks like it will. So from the county library system side of the equation, they wanted something, obviously, in writing, the city committing to this wonderful project, and from our perspective, we wanted the same from the library system. So that's what this does. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Attorney Witten, so the total project is, if my math is correct, 1.3 million?
So, yes, pursuant to this agreement, but however, the library system and our mayor has already started doing some boots on the ground fundraising, getting some commitments for sponsors to things. There'll be different, benches and different, sculptures and things like that. And I don't really want to compare us to Valparaiso because it's different, but it's the same sort of concept, right? You see if you walk through the Valpo Reading Garden, which is maintained by their library there, you'll see things, sponsorships and things like that. So pursuant to this agreement, you're correct. It's 1.3 million plus 40,000 for the parking plus the value of the land. But that's not going to be the whole story. There's going to be some amenities coming through with with donations and sponsorships. Is that correct, Mayor? So
So the total commitment on our, end.
is the 800 plus the land. Yeah.
Okay. And that won't be reduced by the sponsorships, but the sponsorships will enhance the total project? Is that what you're saying?
I believe that is correct, yes.
So Scott, there's several amenities to that, and AJ, if you want to speak up to this too, because AJ's been very helpful moving this project along through the redevelopment commission and going through all these drawings, because after all, the redevelopment commission has really put up a lot to make this happen. But there's an amenity, one is an Instagram wall. There is a living sundial on the property that will need funding. So we have been talking to businesses and getting commitments for those kinds of things. There's separate reading areas, there's walking trails through there. There is an amphitheater there so that the library will program events throughout the summer months and maybe even beyond. It's a fantastic concept. I do have pictures in my office if you want to see it. We've been working on this for about 2 years, and I'm very excited about it. The library garden in Valpo is kind of what spurred this on. It was during COVID. People couldn't go inside of the facilities because of COVID. So the Rotary Club in Valparaiso came up with this idea with the public library system, and their facility is absolutely fabulous. It's nestled right in the heart of town, right across from the public library. But there is another one, quite different than the one that we're looking at, and the existing one going in Hebron. So these little library gardens are going to be popping up everywhere else. But ours is rather large compared to some of the other ones because we have a nice piece of property. And you will be able to access that. I think if AJ wanted to say something about that from the trail, so people can ride up the trails to the library garden. We're excited to be hopefully kicking this off very shortly, and there will be pictures then. But it's a great thing for our community, for the children in our community, because Jesse Butts, who is the head of the public library system for Porter County, has got some wonderful ideas for this. The library board is very excited about it, so this will be the second one if we can get it off the ground very shortly.
Yeah, and one thing that's become quite clear, Mayor, if I could piggyback on that, is not just the city, but clearly the city, through the whole COVID affair, people really are clamoring for some outdoor opportunities, some places to congregate, some opportunities to have events outdoors. This particular, in the conceptual drawings, as the mayor indicated, there's a lot of pretty cool amenities that are going to come down the river with this. But certainly it'll give our seniors an opportunity to have access to Wi-Fi outdoors. It'll give our youngsters an opportunity to have events and learning experiences. The school is pretty excited about this as well, having an opportunity to partner with some events here. This just really screams of a wonderful opportunity for that currently vacant lot.
I agree, Attorney Whitten. This will be a great addition on board members as well to the city that can be used by just a whole variety of folks, families, people. Doesn't have any limitation to who can benefit from this board. With that said, I'd make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding concerning the development and ownership of the library garden and this MOU between the City of Portage and the Porter County Library Board.
And Member Williams, if you could make that contingent upon legal review, I'm going to go back to their attorney just because there might be some tweaks on language that the auditor might want in here with respect to their funding stream. So if you could make that contingent upon that. Certainly.
I'd make my motion contingent upon the review of this MOU and its final form, review by our Attorney Whitten, and the Porter County Library attorney as well.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second the motion.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Stay right there, Dan. We have the collective bargaining agreement between street sanitation and the park.
And members of the board, this gentleman to my right is the street superintendent, Randy Reeder, who I've asked to come kind of answer any questions with respect to the street department draft that you have in front of you, and say a few words to that regard.
Well, many, many hours and meetings have been spent on this. I'd like to thank the BAs that represented our employees down at the bargaining unit, John Sorensen and Sean Johansson. So I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank our union stewards and also our council members that represented on the city side. That was Councilperson Podgorski and Councilperson Zilli. A street superintendent, assistant Darren Godby also was in those meetings, and our legal advice, Attorney Winton. So a lot of people have spent hours on this agreement, and there's a lot of compromise, a lot of yeses, a lot of nos, but we came to an agreement that's before you right now, and we believe it's the best possible agreement that we could possibly reach that made both sides happy. So with that said, our members have already voted on this, and it was a majority, and now we bring it before the Board of Works for approval. And
That sounds great. Thank you, Superintendent Reeder. So what I'd like to, I can go through this thing real quick and just hit the highlighted areas. I'm bringing this to this board for approval since it's in fact a contractual obligation. I will then be taking it to the city council since it involves wages and benefits for their approval. So I would suggest if this board does vote to, to approve this contract, that approval be contingent upon city council approval as well. So if I could just real quick go through, of course, this is not just the sanitation street. This is also involves the park department, so they're in this contract as well. It is a 3-year contract retroactive to January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. What will I do with all my time not bargaining for the next couple of years? So the, if we just sort of stroll through this thing, and Randy, feel free to jump in here if there's anything that we happen upon that you think you might need to explain. So we've added CDL-A category for technicians. That's
yeah, we've not added any type of number of employees. We've changed 2 positions from drivers to Class A. So,
and I think that will encourage folks to get the Class A CDL.
yes.
So I think that's part of the idea. So, all right, so that's one small change. And moving right along. I hope I don't miss anything. It's a big contract. Don't think I will because Randy has highlighted, so I won't. So a little bit of change to the probationary period, employees probationary for the first 180 days. If an employee is promoted within the bargaining unit, shall be required to serve a 90-day probationary period. It's a slight change to the probationary period for the employees, correct?
That's correct.
If we wanted that 90-day probation period to be extended, we could do so by agreement of the parties. If we think we need a little more time for somebody that's moved into a new position. And frankly, we have events where maybe the employee wants to decide whether they want to stick around in that higher jobs. We've had employees that have asked to step down. So continuing along, we added to the grievance procedure the opportunity for the union to file grievances on behalf of the bargaining unit. Now, this isn't something necessarily new to contracts, and certainly isn't anything new to contracts in the city. You may remember that other contracts, or you may realize that other contracts that have already been approved by the city have this language in it. The idea is that if we have multiple employees that have the same event that occurs, rather than the city dealing with 4 or 5 different grievances on the same issue, the union can just come through and file a grievance on behalf of the unit, and then we can deal with it sort of globally. So it's judicial economy, basically, for both sides of the grievance procedure. Continuing along. So we changed the language for vacations. And Randy, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, we struck some of the language and we added a 12 months from hire date. So in other words, when an employee starts, let's just take for example, if he started today, regarding his vacation time, well, let's say if he starts in June, because that gives it, after 90 days, that new employee gains like 4 days of vacation. If he does not use that vacation by the end of the year, what we've done is we've changed language in it, so it gives him a complete 1 year to use that to his anniversary date instead of a calendar date. So it allows him to use that vacation time in that calendar year instead of at the end of the year, so.
And also, we added some language that, to sort of address what happens if an employee maybe goes off on extended leave, major illness leave, and then the calendar year kind of comes and goes, and then the new year comes in, and that employee doesn't come back to work. How do we address, they have to come back to work to start accruing the vacation because they have to work to accrue vacation. And then we also talked about what happens when they do come back to work. So it's really an accrual based upon the last day worked. And then this one's you, Randy. It's on the vacation usage.
Vacation usage, so when we had some issues in the past with the contract language, and so we straightened some of those things out regarding, let's say we have a winter storm come in Thursday. We've had some employees who have scheduled vacation, and we have trucks to fill, and some of those vacation employees are drivers, so what we do is we actually now pay them. They get their 8 hours of vacation pay, and we bring them in, and they get that not step up pay, but that premium rate of time and a half working on that Thursday. So they could get actual time and a half plus their vacation day. So we fixed some of that language.
Was that the issue we had with several grievances between a callback and a call-in?
Yes.
That's right. So we kind of cleaned that up.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the idea here is, frankly, we really want employees to come in and help us through storms, even when they're on their vacation, kind of all hands on deck. And they've been good about doing that. So, we want to continue that.
Some of the employees, they have a few weeks to burn up at the end of the year.
Okay.
And when we hit the December, sometimes we get multiple winter storms, and those employees are at home. They usually don't travel out, but they're at home taking up their vacation. We'd love to have them come in and fill a truck and help clear some streets and snow. So this is an added benefit to that.
So we made a slight change to the major illness. As you are aware, I'm sure, MI is taken in 3-day increments. But when we have a situation where an employee is being cared for, him or herself or their dependent or spouse, on a terminal illness, they can take it in 8-hour increments. And that can be important if you have somebody that's taking someone to chemotherapy or, serious surgery or something like that. But we don't want to tell the employee, you got to take 3 days every time you're taking your loved one to sit for the day for chemo. So we've allowed that, to be a benefit that they receive, and I think it is a fair one. We changed funeral leave to bereavement leave, and we added aunt and uncle. That's consistent with some of the other contracts, for 1 day for bereavement for an aunt and uncle. Then, I think this was already in there, but in case it wasn't, we did have retiree medical savings plan language in this contract. I'm not sure, I think this was already in there from the last one-year one we did, but in any case, it's no commitment at this time from the city. This is more a benefit that the operating engineers created within their retirement fund, trust, so it allows the employee to start contributing to a retiree medical savings plan to help fund their retirement or their medical post-retirement. That's not to say this won't become a bargaining issue in a few years, but at this point, it's not a commitment, it's just an opportunity to allow the employee to contribute themselves if they so desire. And then, let's get to the good stuff here. So we agreed to have labor management conferences at least twice a year within the months of April and October. That's more just to kind of get folks to the table and just have a chat about how things are going and maybe talk things through so we can avoid, grievances or misunderstandings. It seemed like a good idea. And that's a minimum, but the parties can agree to meet more. So feel free to meet with your folks if you'd like to, Randy, along the
We do
path
quite
on
often.
holidays. Yeah, okay. And then, so on the uniforms, we have,
Just due to inflation
Yeah.
that we've been facing, prices have gone up. So within the contract, we do have a quartermaster system. So when boots wear out, the employees will come show us their old boots and we'll sign a voucher and they'll go get new boots. But those boot prices have gone up. So we've reflected those changes within the contract. So uniforms, pants, boots, safety
Hoodies.
gear. So.
So Randy, I have a question on the boots and that, so if they get a new pair of boots, and they have to surrender the old boots,
Yes.
do they just get thrown in the garbage?
They surrender the boots, but I usually just give them back to them. They're beyond pair.
Yeah,
So if they want to wear them cutting their grass at home, I'm fine with that, but they got to show us the boot and we'll be willing to surrender that, yes.
some used boots.
no, but being the consummate environmental person, it's like, okay, why are we throwing boots that probably could be used still? So when you say surrender them, I thought they had to give them back to you.
I can guarantee you, Mayor, they are in bad shape, so.
So we added or tweaked some language with respect to mechanics tools. This is stuff we've already been doing, frankly, but it allows for the recovery of tools that are, damaged or stolen or whatever the case may be, from the mechanic, as part of their job performance. A check with our insurance. We've updated the mechanics tools list as part of this coverage. I've had several meetings with James Hazard over at Samuelson, kind of going through that. And so that just kind of memorializes what we've already been doing. And then they wanted language, which was fine. If pay is not received on a regularly scheduled payday, the city must meet with the union and the board within 72 hours to discuss the issue. That wasn't their proposal, actually. They wanted more, but we said no. And then the good stuff, the wages. So this mirrors the increases, by the way, for the utilities, storm and sanitary. So for 2022, it's $1.25 an hour increase. For 2023, it's $1.65 increase. And for 2024, it's $1.75 increase. We also slightly increased the afternoon shift incentive to 50 cents per hour for shift differential. Same thing for midnight shift differential, also 50 cents per hour. other than my first name being wrong, the contract. That pretty much spells it out.
Yes.
So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have or to defer to Randy.
I mean, the employees have approved so far, right?
Yeah, it was overwhelming. It was an overwhelming ratification. Can't say it was unanimous, but it was darn close.
Once we approve this, then it goes to the city council?
That's correct.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the Portage Street Department contract from 2022 to 2024, contingent upon city council approval.
I'll second that motion.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Any questions on the contract? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Randy. You were very helpful.
Thank you to everyone who worked on that. It takes a village to get through these contracts and many, many hours of people going back and forth. So thank you to everyone who participated. Do we have bulk item appeals, Randy?
There are no bulk item appeals.
Yay, yay. So that takes us to the claims.
So I see we bought some ammunition, just in case the papers don't get here in time.
Wow, Jamie.
Nina, are we now up to date with our animal shelter?
So is that why there's 2 entries?
Yeah, we didn't get a bill last year, well, from what I understand. We had, and I think it had to do with, because the contract was still being negotiated, I think it got slipped through the cracks, because we had made an extra, we had a double appropriation for it last year, so.
So one is to cover last year, and one is current.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claims as presented for $905,605.02.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Attorney Whitten, do we have any major illness claims?
We do indeed, Madam Mayor. So I've gone through a stack, and I've signed off on 2 major illness requests and 4 COVID leave requests. So I would ask the board approve those 6 requests, please.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 6 major illness claims.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any other business to come before this commission at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.